In this short video, we will share the latest on Revenue's FATCA and CRS Compliance Review Program, along with some key insights in relation to reporting ahead of the 30 June filing deadline. So Grace, as part of Revenue's Compliance Review Program, they're issuing letters to Irish entities. Would you be able to share a bit more around the type of letters entities are receiving?
Sure, Rachel. So the letters broadly fall into two categories. Firstly, we've seen Revenue send profile interview letters to financial institutions, or FIs as we call them, to basically call them for a profile interview to assess their FATCA and CRS compliance. And these letters can include 15 to 60 questions, and the FI must respond to these ahead of the profile interview. And in our experience, the questions typically relate to the end-to-end FATCA and CRS compliance of the FI, including collection of self-certification forms, policies and procedures, and queries on specific account holders. So it's really important that FIs are well prepared for these meetings with Revenue. And the second category is FATCA and CRS inquiry letters, which raise specific queries. So for example, we've seen Revenue writing out to certain entities that are registered with the Central Bank of Ireland who conduct activities similar to FIs but are not filing annual FATCA and CRS returns.
And these letters and Revenue's compliance review program in general have sparked lots of discussion and conversations at recent industry working group meetings. And very helpfully, Revenue have shared some insights on key recurring issues they've encountered as part of these reviews, which Irish entities should focus on for 2022 reporting. So the first is in relation to payments. So Revenue intend to compare account balances for 2021 to 2022 to determine if there have been any movements in the account and to ensure that any payments have been appropriately reported. Revenue, secondly, are also monitoring Irish entities who appear to have accidentally or prudently registered their FATCA and CRS reporting obligations on RAWs to ensure that only those entities which are appropriately classified as FIs are reporting annually. Another key area of interest for Revenue relates to Irish FIs inappropriately tagging account holders as undocumented accounts. And finally, there continues to be a gap in the tax identification numbers, or TINs, reported under FATCA and CRS. And interestingly, the IRS have recently published temporary relief measures to help address this issue. Grace, would you be able to share a bit more about this?
Yeah, sure. So in many cases, account holders that do not have US TINs are accidental Americans. So what these are individuals who are born in the US, however they move abroad, but under US law, they're US citizens and they should have US TINs and be filing US tax returns annually unless they renounce their citizenship. So this is causing issues for Irish FIs for FATCA reporting purposes. So if you think about it, like for the likes of a bank, for example, right, where an accidental American will open up a bank account and they won't have a US TIN to provide an account opening, the Irish bank is then missing this information to put on their FATCA return. However, helpfully, as you said, the IRS have issued this temporary relief for Irish FIs that are unable to obtain US TINs, provided certain conditions are met. So these include reaching out to impacted account holders annually to request US TINs and using US TIN placeholder codes for FATCA reporting.
Okay, so the key takeaway for 2022 reporting is that if Irish FIs want to avail this temporary relief, they need to use the US TIN placeholder codes in their 2022 FATCA return. And hopefully this should also help mitigate the risk of the 30% FATCA withholding tax penalty for non-compliance being applied as a result of missing these US TINs.
Yeah.
From a FATCA and CRS XML schema perspective, are there any other changes for 2022 reporting that Irish FIs should be aware of?
Helpfully, Revenue confirmed there should be no other changes to the schema for 2022 reporting.
That's great. Thanks very much, Grace. In summary, we recommend that Irish FIs pay close attention to the key issues identified by Revenue as part of their compliance review program when preparing their 2022 Irish FATCA and CRS returns. Should you require any assistance with FATCA or CRS reporting or with responding to a letter received from Revenue in relation to a FATCA or CRS compliance review, please feel free to contact Grace or myself or another member of your KPMG team.